Skyward Sword was released to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the Zelda series, telling the origin story of the cyclical nature of the timeline, the forging of the Master Sword, the relationship between the first Link and Zelda, and the birth of a curse which would eventually manifest as the series' most iconic villain, Ganon. Because it's the series' origin story, Skyward Sword features a massive amount of Easter eggs and references to other games in the series. Some of these are well known, like how the game's main theme, the Ballad of the Goddess, is actually just Zelda's lullaby in reverse, or that the 25th anniversary of the Knights Academy is an obvious nod to Skyward Sword releasing on the 25th anniversary of the Zelda series. However, there are a few interesting, lesser known Easter eggs and references during Skyward Sword. So let's have a look through this adventure, from the islands among the clouds to the wild, forgotten surface. Let's start with a couple of the better known Easter eggs, both found on the peaceful floating town of Skyloft. Inside the Knight Academy, an establishment which trains the youth of the skies, there are a few nods to previous Zelda games. My favourite, even if it is quite well known, is found within Zelda's room, which is locked. However, once Link obtains the claw shots, he's able to access the chimney of the Academy, leading to a crawl space in the ceiling, through which Link can find his way into Zelda's bedroom. In addition to a few other interesting things, there's a knitted Tingle doll. Tingle, of course, doesn't appear in Skyward Sword, but this is a great nod to an iconic Zelda character. The headmaster of the Knight Academy, Gaepora, is Zelda's father, a scholarly old man who bears a resemblance to another Zelda character, Rauru, the Sage of Light and architect of the Temple of Time. Gaepora's outfit, as well as stern brow, obviously resemble not only Rauru but his alternate form, the owl Gaepora Gabora, for whom he is named. This connection is referenced with how Gaepora laughs, hoo, like an owl. Elsewhere in the sky, we have a far more obscure reference found in one of my favourite locations in the game, the Lumpy Pumpkin, a bar serving pumpkin soup and a popular spot for bird riders to rest and meet. Link is forced to work at the pumpkin after he breaks the expensive chandelier to nick the piece of heart atop it, preparing and delivering soup as well as playing his harp. The bar's regulars are Pum, the owner, and Kina, his daughter, as well as Keat and Ruster. Aside from Pum and Kina, these characters aren't particularly interesting, except for the fact that this group is most likely a reference to another bar-dwelling group, the Resistance from Twilight Princess, the main members being Telma, the owner, Ashe, Shad, and Oru. The Resistance are a group who work to restore peace to Hyrule, and their likenesses are mirrored in the Lumpy Pumpkin's regulars. Pum and Telma are the bartenders with a top-knot hairstyle, Kina and Ashe are young girls with black hair styled in similar ways, especially the unique fringe. Ruster and Oru are old men with beards and grey hair in a point and widow's peak, and finally, Keat and Shad are young men with a curl of hair on their foreheads, both being somewhat shy. Skyward Sword's soundtrack, while sometimes forgettable in parts such as many of its boss themes, nonetheless features some of the greatest songs in the series. Fee's Farewell, Skyloft, Coloctus, Farron Woods, and so many others. And like with the main theme of the game, Ballad of the Goddess, many songs in the soundtrack actually hide references to previous Zelda themes. The Song of the Hero, for example, is of course a version of the overworld theme from the first Zelda game, as you'd expect for what is essentially Link's theme. However, in the harp version of the song, played on Skyloft to open the final Silent Realm, we can hear some familiar notes. They're part of the melody of the Hyrule Field theme from Ocarina of Time. Similarly, another classic Zelda song can be heard on a different island, the Bamboo Island, a tiny place featuring a swordplay minigame, slicing a bamboo stalk as many times as possible before it falls. The island's main theme is one of my all-time favourite Zelda songs, a beautifully calming theme akin to Twilight Princess's Lake Hylia or Ocarina's Lon Lon Ranch. But it's not the island's main theme we're looking at, it's the minigame theme itself. The very beginning of the theme, as well as the underlying piano notes, might sound familiar. They're the very same used in the SNES title's minigame theme, used in the Guessing House game. Skyward Sword also features an even more obscure musical nod to A Link to the Past. During the game's final moments, when Girahim summons an army of enemies to slow Link's approach, giving him more time to complete the resurrection of Demise. This horde battle is one of my favourite parts of Skyward Sword. By this point, Link is truly the hero, an unstoppable machine, and it's clear that even the Demon Lord Girahim is afraid, shouting at his minions that he does not care if the whole lot of them get lodged on the end of Link's blade, that they should not fear the hero, but fear his wrath should they fail. It's easy to miss in the chaos of this slaughter, but the Bokoblins hide a neat reference. Their horns, which usually blare out with the sound you'd expect, now play these notes. The very same played by the flute in A Link to the Past, which allows Link to warp around the world. It's a neat little Easter egg which is really easily missed. After Link shreds through the army, he arrives at the centre of the sealed grounds to face Girahim, breaking even the Demon Lord's final, furious attempt to stop him. However, it was too late, and the resurrection of Demise was complete. The Demon King steps forth once more into the world of the living, only to be met with something he thought impossible, a mere mortal standing defiant, refusing him entry into the world. Amused by Link's courage, Demise agrees to prepare a place for a final battle, a mystical plane of reality with clear blue skies and waters. The music which plays during Demise's speech starts out airy and ambient, before erupting into slow building low notes. With a swipe of his hand, Demise pollutes the skies into a cloudy grey, and a familiar theme begins to play. Faintly in the background, rising organ music in series of 4 notes. This is actually a subtle version of Ganondorf's theme, which first appeared, as so many classic Zelda songs did, in A Link to the Past, famously played on an organ by Ganondorf himself during Ocarina of Time. Demise is the ancient origin of Ganondorf's malice, and is already covered in Ganondorf references, like a literal head of flaming red hair instead of Ganondorf's bright red Gerudo locks, and a scar from the ceiling spike on his forehead, where Ganondorf's jewel, and later his Master Sword wound, would appear. So it's brilliant to hear Ganondorf's theme play subtly during the confrontation with Demise. Like previous Zelda games, Skyward Sword features 3 elemental spirits, emissaries of the goddess like the Wind Waker's Great Deku Tree, Valu and Jaboon, though in this case they're the dragons Faron, Eldin and Lanayru. The latter, a fatherly being with a beard of clouds, first appears as just a skeleton, a result of his illness in the past, which requires a life tree fruit to recover from. When Lanayru first meets Link, he explains that he rarely gets visitors, and wants to assign Link a model number, like his friends the ancient robots, choosing LD Link 16. LD is the prefix of all ancient robot serial numbers, likely standing for Lanayru Desert, though interestingly they exist before the Lanayru region became a desert. Either way, the 16 part of Link's model number is probably a fourth wall breaking reference to Skyward Sword being the 16th main series Zelda game. So while he's not the 16th Link, Skyward Sword is the 16th Link adventure. We ended the Wind Waker and Twilight Princess Easter egg videos in the same way. The ability to beat bosses with strange items. These all of course reference A Link to the Past's Aghanim fight, where Link could reflect the wizard's magic with the bug net. This of course has since become a running gag throughout the series. Notable examples being the ability to play most Dead Man's volleys with just an empty bottle, but also with the ability to distract Ganondorf during the final battle of Twilight Princess with the fishing rod. Well, Skyward Sword doesn't disappoint in this regard. During the Demise fight, Link can use the bug net, which will temporarily distract the King of Demons. Not only this, but the furious beams of crackling energy, channeled from the lightning from an otherworldly storm, cast forth from a giant, brutal blade possessed by a powerful demon, can be bounced back by the fragile wooden net. It's hilarious, the intense battle music fades out when you pull out the item, with this ancient, malevolent being distracted by a kid with a net. Thanks for watching this video. Are there any of your favourite Easter eggs in Skyward Sword that I missed? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you're interested, check out the Did You Know Gaming video which I narrated on obscure Zelda facts. Link in a card in the top right or in the description. Cheers guys, and I'll see you next time.